Hello there everybody, how's it going? It's Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on FlossTube, and I am coming to you on this Monday, September 4th, 2023, with an update video that was due a long time ago. Oops, I did it again. I don't know what's going on, but I can't seem to get on a regular filming schedule. I shouldn't say that. I do know what's going on. I am oftentimes faced with the opportunity to stitch or film, and the stitchy bug needs feeding all the time, so I am choosing stitching. So I mean, it's just how it goes. But before we get into everything, I would just like to say welcome. Welcome to both my returning viewers as well as anybody who is checking me out for the first time. Thank you all so much for spending part of your day, evening, morning, what have you with me. Thank you very much for your continued support of me and the channel. About a month ago, I think a month ago this weekend, I celebrated my 10 years on FlossTube. And I haven't done a full celebration because I was waiting for some things to happen before I was able to do that. But nonetheless, we have surpassed the 10-year mark. Full decade of me getting in front of the camera sporadically and inconsistently and whatnot. Isn't that wild? It's wild to say that out loud, that I have been doing this for 10 years. So if you've been with me for 3 minutes or 10 years, thank you. I mean, seriously, a huge heartfelt thank you. And a celebration is forthcoming. It's forthcoming. I'm not going to pin down a time because I'm inconsistent. Anyway, so today we have lots of stitching to talk about. We're not going to talk about books or knitting because we got too much else to go over. I have a ton of projects that I worked on in August, and this is pretty much an August recap. So yeah, I worked on a bunch of things. I also have a couple of FFOs to share with you. I have I shouldn't say a bunch, but I have some haul to share with you as well, and my plans for September. Because some things happened in August that have changed what September is going to look like for me. And so I'd like to discuss my plans. And I always like talking about plans. It's just a lot of fun to plan and to organize and whatnot. So that's what we have on the agenda today. For those of you who left comments on my last two videos, so my mid-year whip parade at the beginning of July and my last update video at the very end of July. For those of you who left comments, I recently went through and either hearted your comment or replied, and pulled any questions. And for the most part, the questions that were asked on those two videos are things that I could answer directly that made more sense with a direct answer. But one of them warrants a discussion once we get to a relevant project. So no formal Q&A session here today. We're just going to jump in with some FFOs because I have two extremely exciting FFOs that have been sitting in the corner waiting for me to do this video so that I can get them up on the wall, because I'm so thrilled to get them up on the wall. But like once they go up on the wall, I'm not going to take them down ever. It doesn't matter whether they're seasonal or not. It doesn't matter whether they match the decor in the room or whatever. They're staying up forever because I'm just so darn excited. So for my birthday this year, I wanted to get some things framed, and I wanted to get some things framed at Total Framing. I don't know if you all know this, but Total Framing is in Virginia. It's about an hour-ish away from me. And I say ish because traffic on I-95 is just, you never know. But nonetheless, it's about an hour-ish away from me. Total Framing is really not that far from me. And so I wanted to make sure I got to go to Total Framing and drop off a couple of pieces. And so for my birthday, my brother was in town. And so I needed his eye because he has a much more critical eye for color and if things work together or not than I do. He's way better at that. I follow patterns. He's really good at the idea of colors working or not. Anyway, so he and I took a few pieces to total framing, and we got through the process of getting 2 of them framed, and we stopped there because it adds up pretty quickly. So they called me mid-July and said that my pieces were ready. And so I was going to pick them up on my way up to the New Jersey FlossTube retreat. And it ended up taking me too long to get to the New Jersey FlossTube retreat, so I didn't bother. And then I finally, a couple of weeks ago, I finally was like to my husband, Danny, we've got to make a road trip. We're gonna head up north, and we're gonna load the family up in the car, and we're gonna head up north, and we're gonna go pick up these pieces. He says, all right. So we went and picked them up, and I waited the whole time until we got home before I tore them open and just stared at them for like 2 hours. I'm just so geeked about these pieces. So I'm going to share them with you. One of them I'm not going to be able to share the whole thing because it contains my kiddo's name, and I'm not sharing her name on my channel. But you'll get the gist of it. So let's start with the other one so that you can see the whole thing. Now, they are gargantuan. Both of these pieces are in 32 count, and I did matting for both of them. So they are big. Bear with me. This one, we did not do the museum conservation glass. We did the UV glass, but not the super crystal clear glass. So there may be some glare with this one. Oh yeah, no, there's a lot of glare. It's like a whole mirror. But this is my Away We Ride, and we're going to do this the best we can. You can see my floss wall and my stack of projects to show you in the glare, but hey, that's all right. Getting the idea. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with this. There we go. Here we go. There's no real great way to share this without getting any of the glare, but that's okay. I'm not bothered by it. So this is Away We Ride by Blackbird Designs. And I was so geeked to get this back because everybody started the stitch along for Away We Ride since it was recently reprinted. And I was so geeked to get this back because everybody was doing the sal. We went with this like burgundy wine colored, like velveteen kind of textured mat, and so it's got that kind of like over dyed appearance to it. And then we reverse beveled the mat so that you don't see the core of the mat. And then for the frame itself, we went with this kind of distressed wood with the pretty little accents on the interior. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's really, 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 really pretty. So we went to Total Framing. We went to the new location, and so we got to see the wall of moldings, and it was just so cool. It was so cool. If you check out their Instagram page, they have it posted what the wall of moldings looks like. It's really fun. It's a sliding wall, so there's like 3 or 4 layers of moldings. It's really cool. Anyway, so this is what we decided for Away We Ride. And I stitched this, like I said, on 32 count. This is Sassenach by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. It is using a mix of the called for colors and also my own choices. I know the house is all of the called for colors except for the door. The door and any of the orange, maroon, and pink shades are definitely my own choosing. I definitely wanted maroon and orange because that's that hokey life. So anyway, so cool. Oh, I wish I could just show this straight on. Too much glare. But anyway, I think it turned out stunning. I am just absolutely thrilled with it. And Total Framing did such a good job with it. So that is Away We Ride. This next one, we did go with the higher level glass for anti-glare. Just because I don't know where this one is going to go, and I just wanted this one to be a little bit extra special. So this one is also matted and also on 32 count, and it's humongous. And so you can see that there is still some glare. Total glare removal is not, it's not possible, but it's not a full mirror like the other one was. So this is the Hope Sampler by Moira Blackburn, and I stitched it on 32 count green apple Belfast linen from Extra Designs. It's using mostly the called for DMC. The exception to that is the border. I just wanted something interesting for that pretty boring border. I mean, it's not a super high interest border. So I used Gloriana Sumatra for that border. And then the text I did in a pink color. I wanted to do something special for that, for the verse. But I didn't have anything in my stash that I really liked. So I just went with the darker pink. It's not the charted color, but I just went with the darker pink. So this piece is tremendously special to me. It is arguably one of the more important pieces, meaningful pieces that I have ever stitched. Because while we were deep in the throes of infertility, trying to have a baby, I posted on my Facebook just asking for people to, I don't know, lift us up in prayer or thoughts for the universe, etc., etc., because we were getting ready to start some IVF. And Ingeborg commented on that post, and she reminded me of this verse from the Emily Dickinson poem, Hope is the Thing with Feathers. And it struck me in the heart. I mean, like, it really stuck with me. And immediately I started searching for a chart with a verse. And I stumbled on this one, and I ordered it, and I started stitching it while we were still struggling through infertility. And then when I got pregnant in 2020, it was like all bets are off. I've got to get this finished in time for kiddo. And so I finished it that September before kiddo was born. This piece is so special to me, and she loves this piece. It's been sitting on the floor kind of tucked away so that she can't put her fingers on it, but she can see it, she can look at it. And she loves the butterflies and the birds and the flowers, and she points them all out, and it's just, this is so special. I really questioned the choices that we made with the gold frame and the sort of pinky neutral matte. Like, it looked really good in the store, and then I'm spending like the next 3 months hemming and hawing, like, I wonder if I made the right choice there. And when John unwrapped it, I was just like, oh yeah, I think we made the right choice with that. I love that it pulls the pinks from all of the features. I love this so much. And whether she takes it on with her for the rest of her life, or if it stays with me, that's okay too. I love this so very much. So very much. I've cried a lot of tears, so I'm not gonna cry now. But yeah, really thrilled. If you want to see a better view of it, head over to my Instagram. I posted pictures that fuzzed out kiddo's name, so you can't see that on Instagram, but you can see a better idea of what the whole piece looks like. So those are my pieces back from Total Framing. Oh, just so cool. Doing that did a couple of things. It made me want to get so many more things framed by them. And it also made me want to stitch everything teeny tiny, as small as humanly possible, because on 32 count, those pieces are humongous. And so a lot of the things that I'm going to be starting from here on out, as long as my eyes will support it, is going to be on higher counts for the most part. Not entirely, but for the most part, it's going to be on higher counts because, yeah, framing it's expensive. It adds up really fast. Worth it. Totally worth it. But nonetheless. So those are my finishes. Okay, so let's get into the works in progress. So these are all of the pieces that I worked on in August and this first little bit of September here so far. Before we jump in, my plan for August was Arbitrary August. Arbitrary August was created by Sarah. She is Stitchin' Mommy here on FlossTube, wherein which you randomly work on projects. It is totally make it your own. So you can spend one day on each project and choose a new project, or you can spend a couple of days. It's just, the idea is just to kind of refresh and do something a little bit different than maybe what your rotation is for the rest of the year. So my plan was to spend the first half of the month doing Arbitrary August with my 2023 new starts. And these were my 2023 new starts that hadn't reached 5 days progress and 1,300 stitches. Some needed more stitches, some needed more days, some needed both, etc. And then my plan was to spend the second half of the month doing Arbitrary August on WhipGo. So that didn't really happen, and so we'll get into that. But that's just kind of a generic, to give you an idea of why I worked on what I did in the first weeks of August. And so yeah, so let's dive right in. So I did my first spin, and my first project pulled was living in this project bag. This is by Fab Shabby Rose, and in here is my birthday start from this year, Madame Lafitte's La Douceur de Jardin, or Garden Sweetness. And I was so excited to get back to this. Just so excited. I did get this from the Madame Lafitte website. Just full disclosure, this is not Pattern Keeper compatible. So if you want to go that route, just be aware. It doesn't go into PK. So this is on 40 count Newcastle linen in Dapple by Picture This Plus. And I was so excited to work on this again. So here is where I got to, and you'll see in the before and afters the progress that I made. I'm working in this one kind of snake style, so I'm working the 10 by 10 blocks in rows, and so I started here and I worked my way this way, and then I worked my row of 10 by 10 blocks this way, and then I'll go this way, etc., etc., working my way down using parking and a little bit of cross country, but very minimal. I'm not the one to stitch a thread until it's done. I do use parking. I like it. I enjoy this. So it's been a long time since I worked on this. I don't remember exactly what I've done. I know that when I started working on it, I was part the way through the rows, but I had quite a bit of the rows to do. And I know that a lot of this is new. So that's where I got to. Was it enough time on this? No, it was not. I really, really, really enjoy this. And I cannot wait to spend some more time on this, and I cannot wait to stitch a whole lot more Madame Lafitte, because these are really beautiful. This is using DMC, and it's just fun and pretty. So that is where I got to with that. Now this will come out one more time this year, because at the end of the year I like to do a parade of my 2023 new starts. So each of my 2023 new starts that I'm carrying into next year will get one more day leading up to New Year. So it will come back out again, but only for a day. So I reached that goal, spun the wheel again, and this time it pulled Lady Halloween by Jardin Prive. More French. This project bag, isn't it so cool? This is a stitch and button bag, and it is so perfect for this. You'll be seeing a preview here of what this will look like finished, kind of, sort of. It is charted in 3 shades, black and 2 shades of gray. I changed mine to black and orange and maroon. And this I am stitching on Fortnite fabrics. This is partly cloudy. I started this for Jessica Stitches of Sass's birthday, also in April. And I think I needed one more day on this. I think I just needed 1 day. So, I think I really took advantage. I think I got quite a bit done in that 1 day. I can't remember where I was with the lettering. I think I did some more lettering, but now I'm questioning that. I know that all of this is new. And I think the broom handle is new. And this, a lot of this is new as well. But nonetheless, so much fun. I haven't done any of the backstitch yet because this pattern pseudo goes into Pattern Keeper. Obviously the backstitch doesn't work, and there is watermark on this, and there are like little notes kind of all around the pattern that Pattern Keeper picks up and thinks is a symbol. So there's some finicky things about it, but it does loosely go into Pattern Keeper. And so I haven't done the backstitch yet because Pattern Keeper does not know what to do with backstitch. So there's like these little squares here. Those are spiders that need their spider legs and their spider webs. There's extra stuff that still needs to go in here. But anyway, super cool. I love this piece. So much fun. Stitches up really quickly. I get lots of stitches relatively easily on this one. So yeah, that one's a lot of fun. Spin the wheel. Get that gold, spin the wheel. My next project is another project from April. I started quite a few projects in April, so this list was certainly padded with April things. I just didn't think I would get most of them right here at the front. So this next one is a favorite whip, and it lives in this project bag. This is by Vintage Owl Lady, and this is Quaker Easter Eggs by the Vivsters, Vivian Powers. And I love this. I love this so much. I got a ton of stitching done. This one needed days. It definitely did not need stitches. It needed days. And I really, really utilized those days. A lot of the quilt blocks are either complete or mostly complete, which is a new thing. This one was partially done. This one was partially done. I think this is brand new. I stitched this entire egg. Which is super pale and super gorgeous. I love this so much. This is also on Fortnite Fabrics. This is a 40 count Newcastle linen, and the colorway is, I believe it's called Sandy Bottom. I believe. But it's just it's a plain neutral with some little bit of sandy grungy bits. It's pretty. And I love this. I really, really love this. I want to go put this on the frame. Even now, I'm gonna put down here those things that I know the percentages for. I'll put that down here. Even though I'm as far into this as I am, I really want to spend some more time on this. It's just so pretty and so much fun to work. This is one that I'm already, like, I don't really want to finish it. I want to stitch more in it, but I don't really want to finish it. Except that it will give me an excuse to start another Vivsters pattern, so maybe there is that silver lining. Yeah, I really enjoy this one. And I'm looking forward to December to being able to work on it again. most of my 2023 new starts needed days. Most of them weren't shy on stitches, but they were on days. And so this is another one. So finish Quaker Easter eggs, spin the wheel, and get this project living in this project bag. This is This Juneteenth Day by Shaded Stitchery. And I was so geeked to get to work on this again. And I'm really enjoying this project. So this is on a 40 count Newcastle linen in Tumbleweed by Color and Cotton using the DMC. And I am having so much fun with this. So I finished this band here with these, I'm not exactly sure what they are meant to signify, including the little bits in between them. And then I got to stitch the water, and it was really cool to get to stitch in a shade other than brown or yellow to get a little bit of blue in there. And then I started in on the first planter. You'll have seen a preview of what this will look like finished. And I just really had a ball. I just really enjoyed working on this. Beautiful. I think it's turning out gorgeous. And there are so many shaded stitchery pieces I want to do. Once I got my days in on this Juneteenth day, I spun the wheel again. And it pulled New Start. So I did have one listing there for New Start. And then I had a separate wheel that I would spin of some things that were kitted or close to kitted or things that I just really wanted to start in the event that came up in the wheel. And okay, so what came up on that New Start wheel was the 2023 Collector's Heart by Heart and Hand. And this was something that I bought, I think, pretty close to Valentine's Day, but obviously wasn't able to start it until here in August. I had some grand plans or delusions, take your pick, of thinking that I might stitch this start to finish, but that didn't happen. I think I spent 2 or 3 days on this and decided to switch. So this came as a full kit, and it comes with Cottage Garden threads in leather bound, and it comes with the fabric, which is a 32 count Belfast linen in Heartland, of course, Heartland by Picture This Plus. And so it comes with a small cut, and so here's where I got to in that first time working on it. And it's turning out really lovely. Let's talk about these Cottage Garden threads because they are beautiful. They are soft, the color is phenomenal, the coverage is really pretty great. The lengths are too short. I mean, they're really too short. For me, I mean, this is totally a user thing. I prefer my working lengths to be about 2 feet, and these are 50 centimeters, which is a little over 1.5 feet. So it's not that much of a difference between 1.5 feet to 2 feet, but it means a lot of difference when I'm stitching, as it turns out. I find myself trying to use every last bit of the thread. I find myself playing thread chicken every single time I'm stitching to try to use up every last bit, because getting through 2 letters on the alphabet is just not enough. It's not enough progress for me for one length of thread. I don't know why, but it made me batty. It made me batty. It made it high stakes stitching when it shouldn't have been. It was thread chicken every few minutes because that's how quickly I had to change thread. Anyway, it's totally a user thing. Like I said, the threads are beautiful. They're nice to work with. Picture This Plus linen is its own kind of animal, but the threads play so beautifully on it. So I'm gonna continue on, but there was no stitching this start to finish because I got a little bit frustrated. Yeah, but I do think that I could potentially finish this year. It may become a TV project. We'll see. If I ever get caught up on WebGo, this could become a TV project, so that I could potentially get it done. So that is my 2023 collector's heart. So I was going to let my wheel spin New Start multiple times, but I wanted to be sure to get back to non-New Starts before I had another New Start pull. I hope that makes sense. It sounded about as clear as mud. So my next spin was Coffee Break by Soda Stitch, and that lives in this project bag by Black Cat X Stitchery. Pretty cool. And like I said, from Soda Stitch. And that looks like this. Will look like this when finished. This one right here. The exception to that is that the labels, cappuccino, caramel latte, espresso pot, those labels I'm nixing. I'm taking those out. I will leave the text in the background of this one, and I will leave the header coffee, but otherwise I'm taking the labels out. I just don't think, I think it's an unnecessary thing. So that is Coffee Break, and this is a piece that needed stitches but not days. I think it was one of the very few that needed stitches but not days. So I got going on the espresso pot, and it's turning out really cool. That was surprisingly more fun to stitch. I mean, given the very limited color palette, it was kind of fun to stitch, and I really enjoyed it. It was good to be out of this checkerboard for the first time and to be actually stitching a thing rather than a background thing. So that's pretty cool. This is on 40 count Newcastle linen in driftwood by Coloring Cotton. This fabric was a gift from Mandy Parker. So that is Coffee Break. And it makes me want a coffee really bad, but an iced coffee because it's 97 degrees out, and that is not an exaggeration. Spin the wheel, and it pulled New Start, which is so exciting to get a couple more new starts in. So this one has not been kitted for a long time, but it was fairly easy to kit up. So while at the Stitch New Jersey retreat, instead of numbering our tables like 1 through 20 or what have you, something generic like that, Arlene numbered our tables with DMC numbers. The thought process behind that was that it would be a lot easier to say I'm at table 3809 and people be able to look at the room and be, oh, there's 3809 there, as opposed to trying to figure out where 1 through 20 is. Anyway, so I was at table 3809 and so we get to the end of the retreat and we're having a sit down chit chat with Arlene, and she says, do you guys like the DMC table numbers? And I thought, yeah, that's really cool. I need to start something using 3809. I just think that would be really cool. And so I'm kind of joking with Arlene. I'm like, I wish I knew the name of that designer. She does like elegant lace and exquisite lace. Starts like Works by ABC or something. I was just joking. But I took that to heart, and when it was time to have this new start, I spun 6 pages from 1603 by Works by ABC. And I am stitching this using DMC 3808, 3809, and 3810. It's charted in 3 shades, and so it's pretty easy to sort of pick a color family and plot it in accordingly. So this is all Stitch New Jersey. This is one of the project bags that I picked up from Penny and Tunny. Gorgeous. And this fabric is 46 count. I can't remember, what is the line for 46 count? If you can, drop it in the comments below and remind me. But this is 46 count in Molly by Grace Notes Fabric, which I picked up while at the retreat. And it goes like this. So here is where I got to, and I am so thrilled. It took me a minute to get the rhythm of that outer border, but once I did, I was off and running, and just so much fun. So much fun. This goes into Pattern Keeper, so you can play with the colors and set them accordingly, and it will give you a mock-up of what it will look like finished. So this is pretty cool. So the border I am doing in 3809, which was our table number, and then this inside is 3810, and there are 6 blocks, hence 6 pages. So block 1, 3, and 5 will be in 3810, and 2, 4, and 6 will be in 3808, which is a little bit darker. And I'm so excited about it. I am just so excited. The 46 count, for whatever reason, it took some more getting used to than I was expecting. And now that may have been how I set this up on my frame. It may have been just too far away. It may also be that my contacts, I haven't updated my prescription in a couple years. So it could be that. And I mean, you know, there's just a multitude of things. But this is stunning fabric to work on. I am just really, it is such a soft neutral, and it's coming off really plain, but it's beautiful. It is so beautiful. There is just like a whisper of color on the fabric. Just a whisper of something more than white. And it's beautiful, and it's soft, and it's just really nice to stitch on. So, yeah, lots more Grace Notes in my future. So, anyway, this is fun, and I am looking forward to working on this again. These new starts during Arbitrary August here, haven't reached their 5 days yet, so I'm going to have to spend some more time with them. As and when I can to try to reach those thresholds. So that is 6 pages from 1603. So I spin the wheel again, and it pulled another project from April. I think I have now worked on all of the April new starts, if memory serves. And sometimes it's a little faulty, but anyway, so it pulled another of my April starts, and that lives in this project bag. This is by Pepper Pot Shop, and in here is my lovely Sweet Summertime by Contemporary Cross. Artist is Andrea Lavray, and I was so excited to get into this. Not only because it's full coverage, but because I'm excited to get into some of the other colors up here in this top left corner. Yeah, I was so geeked when this came up, and I did not get near as much progress as I would have liked in the, I think, 2 days that I got to spend on it. So this is on a 25 count Easy Grid Lugana from Zweigart, and I stitched this along with, all of my heids are 1/1 full cross heids and major full coverage pieces like Contemporary Cross. So 1/1 full cross, and like I said, I didn't get near as much progress as I would have liked, but I got to spend some more time on it, so I will try not to complain too loudly. I did reach the right side of page 1 here, so that's pretty cool. And I got into the dark colors there. In that preview, it's this kind of stripe of paint here. Or maybe it's down here. Maybe it's this one here. I'm really close to getting into some of the pinks. And yeah, this is fun. Like I said before, these colors are soothing, and it's just pretty. It's just really pretty. So that is sweet summertime. And I hope to spend a bunch more time on this in next year. Full Coverage Fanatics posted their 2024 stitching events. And so it's got me really thinking about 2024 plans, and specifically with relation to full coverage. So yeah, I'm spending some 2024 planning thoughts around full coverage, and I hope that one can see some more love next year, because it's gorgeous. At this point, I think we had crossed into the second half of August, and I kept spinning. I wasn't ready to switch to Glory of Autumn. I wasn't ready to work on Whip Go things. I just wanted to keep going with my 2023 new starts. And I wanted more full coverage. And the wheel delivered. It gave me another full coverage piece living in this project bag. This is a brass button bag. And in here is my summer montage. And so this is Summer Montage by Paine Free Crafts. The artist is Janet Stever. Bunch of folks are working on this. And I had to jump in. I had to join along. I wanted to start this last year, but it never came together. So I did finally get it started this year. And then it came up for Arbitrary August, and I really, really enjoyed my rotation on it. This one is a little bit different because I am stitching it on not easy grid. I am stitching this one on 25 count Lugana in Vintage Country Mocha from Zweigart. I just wanted something a little bit different, and I enjoyed my rotation so much that I got the page finish. I stuck with it to the page finish. I just couldn't stop. I was really thoroughly enjoying stitching on this. Watching that rose develop was so much fun. So Paine Free Crafts pages are tiny. I mean, less than half of a full page on a Hade. Tiny. 3,500 stitches per page here. Whereas the average Hade page is north of 7,000. So, yeah, really, really fast page finish. I think 6 total stitching days for this one, which is still pretty quick. But like I said, I was just highly motivated and really enjoying it. And now I want to go work on this again. So I spent 5 days on it in August. 1 day in July when I started it, and 5 days here in August. And I got the page finish, and I was really tempted to just keep going to potentially stitch page 2. And I posted that on Instagram, and the next day I started stitching on it, and I was like, oh, spoke too soon, because it turns out I had reached my limit. I was ready to be done. So I stitched the first couple of blocks in page 2 and then put it away. I just thought that was really funny, that the moment that I said, I think I'm going to stick with this for another page, I was like, actually, no, I think I'm done. So a lot of the folks that are stitching this, Carolyn Zook and Stitchin' Mommy come to mind. They are stitching this. They are stitching the whole rose block first, and then they'll move on to another block. That's not really my style. I'm going to continue on as I normally do. So once I finish page 2 here, then I'll come down here and do my next page below, and then continue in my diagonal pages. It just suits my brain a little bit better to do it that way. Interestingly enough, I think that the right side border of the rose block is the end of page 2. So that's pretty interesting. But I'm just gonna stitch my pages diagonally like I always do. It's just the way my brain works. So yeah, really, really gorgeous. The interesting thing about this is that that rose looks pink, right? I mean, it looks pink and red in the darker shaded areas. Those are oranges, y'all. Those are the 920s of oranges for the most part. The richer shades there are in the 920s of orange. How on earth? I mean, color is so interesting to me. It is fascinating how pink that looks, knowing that it's like 920, 919, 922, 921, that whole range. That's wild to me. I love it. I love it. And it was really fun to stitch because I abandoned my plans essentially and just kept going. Struggle the hardest with Whip Go around this point of the year, because what I want to do in August is full-blown arbitrary August. I want to spin a wheel of all of my whips for the whole month. That's what I want to do. And in September, I want to go whole hog with Sampler September. And in October, I want to go whole hog with Dark October stitching. This is the hardest time for me. I really want to, let's be honest, I want to quit Whip Go at about this point during the year. So it's not exactly surprising to me that I went a little bit monogamous to the page finish and a little bit beyond on Summer Montage, because I was essentially stomping my feet. I don't want to do Whip Go, which is silly because I was so excited about the projects that came up for Whip Go in August. So I get the page finish on Summer Montage and I reached my threshold, my limit on it, and I did decide to switch over and try to do some Whip Go stitching. The first project I don't have to show you. It is the Stark House banner. And the reason I don't have that to show you is because most of what I stitched that day has to come out because I got in a groove and lost track and my border is all messed up. So c'est la vie. I'm gonna have to pull that back out and rip that section out, but like I was not in the mood. I was not in the mood to do that right then, and so I didn't even bring it because I'll show that when I actually make some forward progress. So after Stark House banner, I spun the wheel, my Whip Go wheel again, and this time it pulled a favorite whip. So this was due. This is Living in This Gorgeous Project Bag by Christine, Stitch All the Things. And in here is, like I said, one of my favorite whips. However, it's a piece that I started in 2019 and hadn't worked on since, so I was a little bit apprehensive just because it kind of felt new. And that is the Autumn Sampler by the Kooler Design Studio. Artist is Sandy Orton. I suppose Sandy Orton is the designer under the heading of Kooler Design. Anyway, so the question that I referenced at the beginning of the video comes from Maureen. And Maureen, I was sitting with at the Stitch New Jersey retreat, and she mentioned that she has all of these charts, but in the kits, in the Jan Lin kits. And she asked about the quarter stitches because those kits come with Ada. And she wondered if she should switch to an even weave because she's heard tell that there's quarter stitches in this. And yes, there are quarter stitches in this. I would 0% recommend stitching this one on Ada. If you dislike piercing the Ada for quarter stitches, then don't do it. Switch to an even weave or a linen, because I'm further along into summer, and summer has lots of quarter stitches. This has, so far, it has a little bit. It's not quite as significant as summer has been so far, but there is nonetheless. There's some quarter stitches going on. Even some of these backstitch background pieces have some French knots that would go in the middle of an Ada block. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, to each their own, but I wouldn't recommend it. And so going the even weave route is it's a good way to go. So this I got as a PDF download from the Kooler Design Studio website, and they now function in Pattern Keeper. I'm going to put it that way. They function in Pattern Keeper. The quarter stitches and the back stitch, PK doesn't know what to do. There are some finicky bits, and so it's just some things to pay attention to. This one was a little bit more challenging to get correct into Pattern Keeper than Summer Sampler was, but it's all good. It's not a big deal. Yeah, not a big deal. So got into Pattern Keeper and got to stitching and really didn't want to put it down. Because this is a 2019 new start, my whip go goal was 3 days or 1,300 stitches, whichever came first. Summer Sampler was a bigger goal because it's a 2017 whip, but this one was a shorter rotation. The fabric I'm using is 32 count Belfast linen in flax from Zweigart, and I am really, really satisfied with the progress that I got done. So one of the colors in this leaf and the acorns and these decorative bits I didn't have so when I first started this, and so I made sure to fill that in, and then I finished up this block. I think I was probably about here on this block, give or take some of the grains, and so I finished up this motif, this section of it. Look at those little cows. Aren't they so cute? They're gonna be really cute once they're back stitched. But nonetheless, really, really cute. I added the bottom board of this sort of plaid band, and then I got started over here on page 2 with the corn and tomatoes band, and I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have gone and started this, because what it made me want to do was keep going and get actually into that, and I feel like I barely got it started, and then my rotation was over. So I got one tomato stitched, but that's it. I mean, really, that's it. It's a lot of color changes in that section, and so that's why you see a bunch of threads parked and started. But it's going to be a lot of fun to stitch, and I so look forward to actually getting to. I don't know when that's going to happen. It's going to be a while before I'm able to actually spend some time on this, but yeah, really, just a lot of fun and just some really gorgeous colors, bold colors, and pretty. So much fun. I reached the end of Autumn Sampler, reached the end of my rotation there, spin the wheel again, and this time I pulled this project bag, or the project in this project bag, I should say. This is a vintage Owl Lady bag, and in here lives another piece that has not seen the light of day in entirely too long. This is a piece that the last time I worked on it was in 2018, and the last time that I really significantly worked on it was when I started it in January of 2017. So it had been over 6 years since I spent significant time with Earth Goddess by Joan Elliott. And this is like one of my favorite Joan Elliott pieces ever. I love this one. This one and Rain Goddess speak to me as a human. Like, yeah. So, anyway, I cannot believe that it has been this long since I last worked on this piece, but nonetheless, it has been this long since I last worked on this piece. Because this was a 2017 new start, it was scheduled for 5 days or 2,000 stitches, whichever came first, and I managed the 2,000 stitches in those 5 days. So I got to spend a significant amount of time with this piece for the first time in literal years. My fabric for this piece is probably like one of my favorite fabric pairings I think I've ever done. This is 32 count Belfast in Dried Thistle by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. This I started at a time when I started in the middle and worked my way down and then tried to work my way up. So current me is kicking past me for making that choice. I also have a certain methodology and an order in which I do things nowadays that wasn't the case 6 years ago. So I'm doubly kicking myself for those choices. But anyway, I'm making it work, and it's gonna be all right. So my first task was to try to fill in some more of the skirt. I had bits and pieces of the underskirt here done, but certainly not all of it. So that was my first task. And so I got this whole section of the gray underskirts done. And then I got into some of the warmer sort of overskirts over there. And I love those shades. So pretty. Just really, really gorgeous. And then I thought, well, I'm going to have to tackle this grass because I'm going to not super enjoy stitching the grass because it's just a lot of long stretches of color, and that's not my favorite. So I knew I needed to get into the grass, and so I rewarded myself by working on the mushrooms, and then I stitched some grass, and then I stitched some skirt, and then I stitched some more grass, etc. Honestly, the games we play. But yeah, what can I say? I really, really love this. And I love this fabric, and I think it's excellent. It is not exactly surprising to me that Earth Goddess should be one of my favorites, considering I'm a Taurus, Earth sign. And both my husband and my daughter are Capricorns, Earth signs. So it's not exactly surprising that I should love this so much. So that's where I got to with Earth Goddess, and as much as I didn't want to put this away, I'm also like satisfied. I do feel like the 2000 Stitches was a satisfying reach, and so that is kind of informing some of my decisions for next year, but more on that another time. So that was great. It was great to get to spend some time on that again. Another piece that I had actually spun in the first half of the month was meant to be my TV project. And it took me a really long time for it to actually be a TV project. A lot of my TV time was kind of mindless, playing phone games, etc. But my TV spin was April Quaker by From the Heart, Needleart by Wendy. And this is a piece that I started at StitchCon this summer and got barely into. I got this first little section done, and then it didn't see the light of day for a couple months. So this was a piece that I was trying to finish before the end of August, and then August was over like that. It was like the 25th of August, and so my chances of being able to finish this were pretty slim, and then before you know it, it's August 31st, and I'm like, wait, what? So it's not finished yet, but nonetheless, making some pretty good progress. This is 28 count antique white cashel linen, 1/1 full cross with the DMC conversion. So the colors are different. They're coming up a little bit different than the charted. I think that the charted Classic Colorworks lean a little bit more blue, and these are leaning full green, but I think it's pretty. I think it's prettier now that I'm further into it. When I was up here and I hadn't stitched in any of the coral color, I was not thrilled. I was gonna commit to stitching this one again because April is my birthday month. I would like at least this one to be, one of my favorites as far as the color palette goes. But the further I get into it, the more and more I really like the shades chosen. DMC 524 is kind of a gray green, and it's one of my favorites. I didn't think it was leaning as blue as I was expecting it to, but I still think I think it's turning out pretty. The 524 is this paler green. So yeah, I think I'm beyond the halfway point. At least in the height, in the amount of stitches, the bottom it's pretty bottom heavy as far as stitching goes. But so I'm gonna try to work on this as my TV stitch and try to get this finished this month and continue on. I have no hope, plan, or desire to stitch the whole collection by the end of the year. But if I could get through the first 6 months, I think that would be pretty cool. I think it'd be cool to have the first 6 months done and maybe even FFO'd to be able to display in the first 6 months of next year. So that's the plan there. Gorgeousness. You remember how I said it was the 25th of August and then all of a sudden it was the 31st? That is not more evidenced than with my next project, which, if you've been paying attention, you know that my Glory of Autumn hadn't come up yet. It didn't come up in my wheels. I even had it in my 2023 New Starts wheel because the goal was to try to get it to come up as early as possible. And it just didn't. So the last project that I worked on in the month, it was a scramble, but is my Glory of Autumn, which lives in this project bag by Hillside Rookery. Glory of Autumn is a kit by Dimensions, and it is my last project from 2015. It is the piece that I have broken up into 12 sections for this year, and I'm gonna get it done by the end of the year. Oh, my cover page has been subjected to a toddler who says, "Oh, pretty." Anyway, so this is what this will look like finished. I am stitching this on 28 count antique white cashel linen. I'm not using the kit Ada. And so I furiously worked on this to get my August section done. And it was a little hairy there at the end. I wasn't sure if I was going to get it done in time. There's nobody really holding me to this other than myself, but I really wanted to stay on top of it with this one. So here is my progress. And this is actually a little bit of my September section as well, because reasons that I'll explain in a minute. So my August section was the first time that I got into adding more to the right side here. It was the first time I had done that. And it was my first section where the water wheel housing is now finished. So now it's all ground and water and fence. It's weird. It's weird to say. It's weird to say that the water wheel housing is done. Oh my gosh, is that not so gorgeous? For whatever reason, my Instagram posts are washing, it's kind of like fading out the colors. So my Instagram posts with this piece, the colors are not as bold as they are in real life. And you all are getting to see it in like a real representation of how rich these colors are. Oh, so pretty. I want it to look like this outside and not like it does. So yeah, anyway. So yeah, I'm just so thrilled with the way it's coming together. We are really getting close here. The bottom is it's just not that far away. It is not that far away. So, frantically working on this at the end of August to get my section done. I managed to get my section done with hours to spare on August, but it was touch and go. And so I get my section done and I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to keep going with this at the beginning of September and knock out my September goal as early as possible, because what has happened these last few months is I have totally abandoned backstitch, and I haven't made any progress on the backstitch in a long time. And so my thought process was that I was going to get my September section done as fast as possible, and then put this in a Q-snap and make the backstitch my TV stitching, to try to get caught up on the backstitch, because I haven't done it in a long time. And that's okay. My sections don't require me to stay caught up on the backstitch, but I would like to nonetheless stay caught up on the backstitch. My December section is so tiny, and it is mostly half stitch, and it's not a full section, so I will have some time in December to finish the backstitch. But when we get to December, I want to just finish this. I'm going to want it done, and to celebrate finally reaching that point on this humongous piece. So I get up September 1st, and I hadn't switched my projects yet, and so I did spend part of the day on Friday working on this. So and then we'll talk about September 1st again here in a minute. But anyway, I obviously didn't get my September section done. This side I still need to bring down a little bit. There's still some more to be added in, some more purples, some more half stitch. So yeah, so there's that. I have run out of a color, and I'm sure that is Past Me's fault. I'm sure that Past Me was not as frugal as I should have been. And so I am dealing with the consequences of that now, but there are a bunch of dimensions to DMC conversions, and you cannot tell the difference between the DMC equivalent. It's really difficult. If you can, then you need to back up because you're standing too close to my project. So anyway, really cool. I'm really geeked to just keep going. I'm geeked. I don't know when this is going to come out again, but more on that here in a minute. So that is Glory of Autumn. Few more months left. We are over the 2/3 mark. September. September is Sampler September. In recent years, I have fallen more and more in love with samplers, and specifically reproduction samplers. I really look forward to Sampler September every year. It is a time when I can focus on that part of my brain that just craves that style of stitching. An added layer to that is Back to School Sal, which was started by Lauren, the New Hampshire stitcher here on FlossTube. And she said, let's all work on a BAP. A lot of us started a new BAP. You all know I have a million to choose from, but a new start, an excuse for a new start, I'm here for it. So I am frantically trying to get my section done on Glory of Autumn. And in that, I was supposed to be working on getting my new start for Back to School kitted up, and I didn't. I couldn't do it because I was frantically trying to get Glory of Autumn done. So I ended up getting fully kitted on the 1st, and I started at the end of the day on the 1st. But nonetheless, I got it started. So excited. Just so much fun to see what everybody is working on for Back to School. My wish list grows. Sampler September is always really kind of bad for my wish list, in a good way. It's bad in a good way. But yeah, just really excited to see all of the samplers popping up on my Instagram. So not too long ago, I posted a poll to my Instagram stories of some things that I thought I might start for Baptist school. And there was no guarantees of anything. There was no guarantees that I was going to start any of them. There was no guarantees I was going to start the winter. There was no guarantees I was going to start just one. I might have started all 6. Who knows? But I was just curious to see what you all thought I should start. And this one did a lot better than I really thought it was going to. I was pleasantly surprised of the number of votes that this one got. I think it was up there in the top 3. And so I ultimately decided to go with this one over the others because it is different than the other reproduction samplers I have on the go. And it is Ernestine Bruyère, 1909, by Reflet-Soie. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, if I was smart, like Contented Needleworker Kim, I might just stitch the giant centerpiece. But am I smart? It's debatable, because I'm going to stitch the whole thing. And the whole thing is 357 by 351. Humongous. I mean, just absolutely humongous. Yep, humongous. But beautiful. So beautiful. So, I have worked on this. I worked on it Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, and this morning. And I am trying to decide what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. So let me grab it. It's on the frame still, and I will show you my progress. So like I said, this is on the frame still. This is a question that comes up every time I show a project on the frame. What's that frame that you're using? This is a Millennium frame from Needle Needs. It is a stretcher bar system with a dowel, and it is arguably my favorite frame I've ever stitched with. They are heavy, they are expensive, and it takes a long time to get them. They are based in the UK, and sometimes the wait times can exceed into years. So, all of that to say, I love these frames, and that's what this is. So here is my progress as of this morning. I am thoroughly enjoying this. I am loving these colors. These soft, beautiful colors. This is so much fun, and this is just barely the tip of the iceberg. I mean, just barely the tip of the iceberg. This fabric is 40 count Newcastle linen in Dusky Twilight by Dixie Sampler. This is the original fabric that I had started Anton Uffendal on, and I have decided that it's not the right fabric for that piece. I almost restarted that on September 1st because it was full kitted, it was ready to go. But I actually don't think I'm happy with the new fabric that I have chosen, so I am back to the drawing board with that one. I had purchased a big old piece of just cream Newcastle linen, and I'm wondering if that is too bright. I'm wondering if I need something a little bit softer, a little bit quieter. So I'm back to the drawing board, and this is the only piece of 40 count that I had in my stash that was big enough for this project. She's big. She's really, really big. But I'm just so thrilled to have her started. This has been in my stash. This chart has been in my stash for a long time, and I was just so excited to get her started. The cool thing is, I bought a PDF from the Reflet-Soie website, and it went into Pattern Keeper. Again, it's got its finicky things, but it being all cross stitch, it's not so bad. The color list is weird. I already have some zeros because the color list is kind of broken up by pages. So the symbol for 221 is listed like 5 times because of the weird way that the color list was broken up. It's fine. It's not a big deal. It's easy to manage. But anyway, just super fun. Super fun to have it in Pattern Keeper. It makes counting easy, and it makes it just makes it all easy. Makes it all pretty easy. So that is my progress on Ernestine Briere. And I am really tempted to spend the rest of the day on this. I need to switch gears and work on WIPGO things. And we're going to talk about plans here in just a moment, but I don't know. I could really use some more time on this. happily take some more time on this. Because the near 1,800 stitches I've done is less than 4% done. Exact numbers here, but yeah, less than 4% done. Could use a lot more for this gigantic piece, so we'll see. Okay, so let's dive into the plans officially. Let's take a look at what September might look like. I am at war with myself. Play catch up with WIPGO, focus on WIPGO, get caught up on WIPGO. Sampler September. How do I find the bridge between the two? I don't know. I don't know if it's possible. September is only 30 days. And that extra day isn't going to mean the difference between this month and a month with 31 days, but nonetheless, it's only 30 days. It is not possible for me to get totally caught up on WIPGO. It's not possible. I have 12 outstanding WIPGO projects between my 6 for here in September, 4 from August that I never got to, 3.5, 4 basically, and 2 from July. It is not possible for me to get to all 12 here in September, even if I spent the whole month on WIPGO. Those things that are Halloween, I'm saving for October. So those WIPGO projects that can work in October, they're going to wait till October. So I could work on getting caught up on WIPGO for the rest of the month. I think I'm going to throw in some samplers as well, because there are a couple more that I would like to start. One of which has been kitted up for well over a year. I think it's been kitted up since probably April of last year, maybe even March. And so I think I'm going to have some sampler new starts on Saturdays. I think I'm going to have 2 more. So in 2 weeks' time, so on the 15th and then the 29th, I will have some more sampler new starts. Because I just want to. So, the first one that is fully kitted, not fully, but mostly, lives in this project bag. This was made by Nicole of Nicole's Needlework. And super fun. And in here is my Scarlet Letter Jane Walker. So this is what I would consider a small sampler. It's really not humongous. It's charted on 30 count. I'm just going to stitch mine on 40 count. I haven't pulled the fabric, but I have neutral fabrics aplenty in 40 count, so not a big deal. And I'm really excited to get this started. Like I said, it's been kitted up for well over a year, and I'm going to stitch it with the DMCs that I kitted up over a year ago. I mean, I've had this ready to go for a long time. So this is going to get started because I really want to. Another one that I want to start is another one that was in that Instagram poll, and I'm just really geeked about it. This is Anne Woodall 1847 by Smoky Mountain Stitches, and I love it. I think it's so different, and my fabric choice is really interesting. So I talked to Emily, because Emily C of Eclectic Possessions, she understands color, again, like my brother, in a way that I don't. And so I asked Emily, I said, do you think this would work? Because it's kind of a different choice. Do you think this would work? And so I have a piece of Murky. And I think that this might be kind of cool on Murky. I think that these flowers will glow on the Murky. So I pulled this out to take a picture of and send to Emily and ask her opinion if she thought it would work. I didn't realize that this piece of Murky was so two-faced. I didn't realize that it was so very different on the two halves. So I could make it work on the Murky, but I have another option that I'll show you here in a minute because it's haul. But nonetheless, I just think this would be really cool. It's just so different. It's an unexpected fabric choice, and this whole piece is unexpected. I mean, a giant white deer. He is stunning. So, anyway, so that I am likely going to start. So those are the sampler new starts. I have some other reproduction samplers on the go that I would like to work on this month, but those are more wait and see. These are in the probably going to happen kind of plans. Okay. So when I was first thinking about September, I was thinking I was going to work on my back to school piece, and that was going to be it for me for Sampler September. And then the rest of the month was going to be spent getting caught up on WIPGO and working on Glory of Autumn to my section. So I created a wheel on my Tiny Decisions app that has all of my eligible past WIPGO and current WIPGO pieces on it. My current WIPGO pieces are weighted heavier, so the slices on the wheel, so to speak, are bigger than the past ones. Just to try to focus on this month's before I start tackling the past ones. So I spun the wheel the other day, thinking that I may start this process tonight. So tonight stitching, I may get going on WIPGO. I may also spend the rest of today on Ernestine Briere. We'll kind of cross that bridge when we get there. So my next project, either tonight or tomorrow, is a past WIPGO call. This was from August, and it lives in this project bag. This is by Jasmine's Custom Bags, and this is my oldest fancy lady. She's a mermaid, but nonetheless. So this is Queen Mermaid by Mirabilia, and this is this project's second rotation. When I did August plans, I explained all of this to you, but I'm going to show it to you here for a starting point so that when I do my next video, I have a good starting point. I have recently shown you my starting point. So here is where I'm up to, down to, what have you. And this is a 32 count Belfast linen in As You Wish by Under the Sea Fabrics. This being its second rotation as a 2016 WIP, this second rotation will be 3 days or 1,300 stitches, whichever comes first. And I'm probably going to work on the tail. I know I had talked about maybe working my way up because I really prefer to work top down nowadays, but in the interest of trying to get caught up on WIPGO, I think I'm just going to focus down here with big blocks of color, and I don't have to do much counting and working my way up. So I think that's going to be the plan for whenever I work on this, either tonight or tomorrow. Up next are my WIPGO projects for the month of September. I don't have all of my past WIPGO projects because, like I said, I've shown those in other videos. So these are my September WIPGO pieces that I hope to be able to get to here this month. And then I can play catch up on the older ones as we go through the end of the year. So the first one I'm actually really excited about, and this one I can work on for Sampler September. It is living in this project bag. This is a Hillside Rookery bag. And in here is my Spring Quaker by Leela's Studio. So this will be really exciting to get to work on. Even though I'm trying to lead into fall and autumn, it'll be exciting to work on some spring. But we have seen some teases for Leela's Autumn Quaker, so yeah, very exciting. Anyway, this was my birthday start that I started a month late last year, and I am geeked to work on it for WIPGO. It will be a short 3 days or 1,300 stitches, whichever comes first. I am using, I think, mostly not called for because it is mostly classic colorworks. And I have a big stash of gentle arts and color and cotton. But anyway, this fabric is 40 count Newcastle linen in Little Bunny, I believe. Yes, Little Bunny by Extra Designs. And this is a sad start. This could work for sad start September, which I know some folks are doing. Because this is kind of a sad start for how big this piece is. And a bunch of people have worked on Summer Quaker lately and made me want to work on this. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm geeked to get into that for real. Because it feels like I'm barely begun. Okay, up next is another piece. Oh, I'm so excited to work on this. And also works for Sampler September. It doesn't work for September Sampler Soiree, which is specifically for reproduction samplers. If you see those hashtags floating around, that's the distinction. Sampler September is anything that's sampler-y, Quakers, primitive style things, original samplers, etc. But reproduction samplers are the only things that should be going under the heading of September Sampler Soiree. Just so you know. So this one, living in this project bag, this is my Stitch and Button 12 Days of Christmas bag from last Christmas. And in here lives one of my favorite starts from 2021. This one always gets everybody going every time I show it. It is Christmas Quaker Bell Pull by Sticky Dane van der Vanberg. So excited to work on this again. I haven't worked on it since 2021. And so I'm really excited. This is 40 count Newcastle linen in light mocha, I believe. I believe it's light mocha. And it is a very, very long piece. It's extra long because I stitch in the Millennium frame, but nonetheless. Oh, so pretty. These colors are so much fun. And I am just really thrilled that this came up for WIPGO. It's a short rotation. It's 3 days or 1,300 stitches, but some progress is better than the nothing that it got last year. So I'm excited. I'm stitching this using the called for red and the called for green. The yellow I subbed for Petite Treasure Braid. A little sparkle for Christmas. It's called for. Even if it's not called for. So there's Christmas Quaker Bell Pull. Okay, here's another project that hasn't seen the light of day in a long time. I think probably since 2019. Maybe 2020, but I don't know. It lives in this project bag. This is a Momely bag. And in here lives my animal stacks. There have been like, I don't know, 10 or 12 new animal stacks since I started this. So we started, the plan was to start Goat Load for Emma Lacey's birthday, whatever year that was. I can't even remember now. But the plan was to start Goat Load for her birthday. And so I started a project with 4 of them. Sheep Heap, Goat Load, and then I'm going to do Gobble Gob, turkeys, and a wintry one. So I have the 4 seasons all together on the same piece of fabric. This is 32 count Belfast in parchment of some... I can't remember the name of this fabric. You know me, I'm always really good about that, but I haven't shown this piece in a long time. Parchment? Maybe just parchment, by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. And so, like I said, I have Sheep Heap done, and I have Goat Load just barely started. And I am so geeked to work on this again for the first time in years. So I think my threads are not called for. I think I'm using mostly things from Stash. And I chose a DMC for these sort of neutral sheep. These sort of bare wool neutral colored. And it blends in pretty good with the fabric here on camera, but in person you can tell that it's stitched. So I'm not worried about it. And then, but this time I will work on Goat Load for summer. And then I'm gonna do it in a wheel. So autumn will go here, and whichever winter one I choose will go there. I haven't decided yet. Yeah, I haven't decided yet. So, looking forward to working on that. That'll be cool. That'll be really cool. It's been a long time with that one. Okay. What are you? Up next is a piece that I may save until October. We'll just kind of cross that bridge when we get there. It lives in this really cool bag. This is a vintage Owl Lady bag. Everything has little skulls in it. There's little skulls everywhere. So much fun. This is Lunar Witch by Autumn Lane Stitchery. And this is another piece that I have not worked on since starting it. I think I started this one in 2019. Or maybe 2020. Now that I think of where I pulled it from my shelf. Yeah, I think this was 2020. But I barely started it. Barely started it. And I saw that Annette from Annette's Acre just recently finished this. And she changed the cape and the orange accents in the hat to maroon, and I might have to follow suit because I hope obvious reasons. But I'm a long way from that. This is 32 count Belfast in Purple Pansies by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. I'm a very long way from that. Very, very long way. But nonetheless, I am geeked to work on this again. It's color blocks, so I should be able to get some significant progress in a fairly short period of time. And I know it's called Purple Pansies, so you think floral, but I just thought this screamed Halloween to me. But this one I may wait till October to work on that one. Up next is an old project that, again, it's been too long since I last worked on it. And this is a 2016 start that has barely any, it's hardly a start, and it's humongous, so it needs more. So that is living in this stunner of a project bag. This is probably my most beautiful project bag that I own. This is a bag by Jan Stitchin' Necessities, and it was at the request of Belinda Aussie Stitcher. She requested Jan make me a couple of bags in Virginia Tech fabric because she's the greatest ever. So in here lives my Snow Queen. Snow Queen. Oh goodness, I am so thrilled. And this is another one where I like pat myself on the back for this fabric pairing because this was really exciting. This is 28 count cashel linen in Darkness Falls, opalescent. Darkness Falls by Under the Sea Fabrics. Top half is dark, bottom half is pale. Is this not excellent? I think this is really excellent. And like I said, I pat myself on the back. High five, self. So anyway, this is my very sad start, and I'm sure you don't even know what that is. I'm not even sure you know what that is. Okay, so this here, it must be this section here, this blue section here. Yeah. So this is gonna take some getting accustomed to. This rotation is 4 days or 1,600 stitches, whichever comes first, and I'm really anxious to see what I can get done on this. She is so beautiful. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. Last WebGo project for September is coming from a book. This is Fairy Enchantment by Joan Elliott. And this is another piece that has hardly a start, despite it being a project that I started in 2017. I last worked on this in 2020 during Stitch Mania. And I probably should show you what this will look like finished. I have I have new resolve for working on this because now I have a kiddo, and she loves her books and she loves to read. So I have newfound excitement for this piece. This is called Once Upon a Time, and I'm just, yeah, it's going to be good to work on this again. It's going to be good. So, this is on 32 count Belfast in Iris by Hand-Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie, and I have just worked on the castle. That's all I have done in 6 years. Yikes. But nonetheless, I'm excited to work on this again. This fabric is really pretty. It's really gorgeous. I'm excited to work on this again and to maybe get into something other than the castle for the first time. So that is Once Upon a Time. So we'll see when these things come up alongside my past Whipco pieces. We'll just kind of see what happens. But wait, there's more. A few years ago, I think it was 2018 or 2019, I spent the entirety of September working on In This Moment. And for whatever reason, I am in the mood for full coverage stitching every September. Every September, I think about that year, and I got 3 page finishes on In This Moment that year. And it is not within my nature to go monogamous, but that was nonetheless so much fun that now for years afterward, I'm still kind of craving that. Under no circumstances do I have any intention of spending the whole month on full coverage, but I would like to work on some full coverage. So I spun my full coverage wheel and it pulled this piece. So Deborah, this is for you. This is my snow castle. And so I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this month. I'm going to try to put in about 2,000 stitches on my snow castle. And try to get some full coverage stitching because I so dearly love it. So I'm going to get started here into page 7. I've already just started it, but I'm going to get into page 7 and continue working on my snow castle. Deborah, AZ Needleworker on Instagram, and FlossTube, if she ever comes back, is also working on this, and she is so much further along than I am. She is so much further along. She's going to finish it well before I do, which is okay. That's all right. But yeah, just really exciting to get to this, because she's been teasing me about it for a while now. So yeah, so between the samplers and all of the Whipco and the full coverage, we'll see if I get any sleep in the month of September. It's so much stitching, I'm never going to be able to accomplish it all. Some things are going to have to be pushed, so we'll do that as needed. So that's really exciting. So those are the plans for the month of September. I also hope to be able to film more frequently, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, our last segment of the day, we have finally arrived, is some haul, some stash acquisitions. And the first thing is something that I got from my husband for our wedding anniversary. Our wedding anniversary was in June, at the beginning of June, and it was 7 years, and so it's meant to be copper, and he's decided he's ignoring those traditional gift ideas, which is totally fine by me. It's not like we are beholden to that. So he got me a new Millennium frame. My side stretchers for my Millennium frame, they have been well loved for a long time, and they're starting to show some of that because they are in near constant use. They're starting to show some signs of wear. And I got that frame 10 years ago. this is so special to me because I started my channel 10 years ago. I started stitching in the spring of 2013, and for our dating anniversary that year, he bought me a Millennium frame. And now here we are 10 years later. Our lives look so different than they did back then. And he got me a new Millennium frame for our wedding anniversary. So that was 12 weeks ago-ish today. It was exactly 3 months ago today, actually, was our wedding anniversary when he placed the order. And it arrived 2 weeks ago. I got a new Millennium frame in 10 weeks. It is unheard of. It is unheard of for them to move this quickly. But I'm fairly certain that it's because they have a history of not delivering very quickly, that things are business is probably slower. And so I got this within 10 weeks. It also may just be because this thing is huge, and so the demand for this one may not be as high, and so they may have had some laying around. I don't know, but nonetheless, it arrived within 10 weeks. So it is massive. It is the longest stretcher bars that they make, and I believe the working space is 36 inches. So pretty humongous. My big frame that Ernestine Briere is on, that is 30 inches. And then he got the mid-level side stretchers. So these are significantly bigger than the ones that I have been using for the last 10 years. So that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to have that much of a bigger working space here now. And so now I have multiple frames, and I don't necessarily have to be putting so much constant strain on my first stretcher bars. So it's really exciting. It's really just so exciting to have the new frame. It's going to require me sort of reconfiguring my stitchy spot because this is too big for my stitchy spot. It's too wide for my stitchy spot. So that'll be interesting. Okay, one kind of sad thing. When it arrived, I unpackaged it and I burst into tears. Mostly from joy, but a little bit of sadness because it came with this. This is something that you get whenever you get one of their Millennium frames or their little wizard frames, because it helps you tap in your fabric into the channel so that you can run the dowel through. So you lay your fabric over and then you tap this in to push your fabric in, and then you run your dowel to set up for the system. This made me cry because I had one from my original frame, from my very first frame purchase. And I haven't had it for several years because Thor chewed it up. And Thor's not going to chew this one up. And I am all in my feels about that. I haven't had one for a really long time, and I really wish that I saved that chewed up one, which is so silly. It is so silly. Of course I trashed it because it was no longer usable. I had been using a hard ruler to tap in my fabric for years because he had chewed it up. He had slobbered and drooled all over it and rendered it completely useless. And he's not going to chew up this one. So, that's why I cried. And I felt the need to share that story with you all because in the conversation of talking about my 10 years on FlossTube and 10 years of 10 years of stitching, I don't know, it's just y'all have been with me through all of it. And so anyway, so there is that. Okay, let's get into fun Happy Mail haul stuff, of which I have a lot. So the first thing is a couple of new project bags. This is a stitch and button bag, and Snow Queen's gonna move into this bag. Pretty perfect. If I do say so myself. And I also got the thread bed. Yeah, this is built for Snow Queen, and I believe that's Josephine Wall artwork. So that's pretty cool. And alongside that, she sent me something that she is working on. This is a notions pouch, but it's a pretty decent size notions pouch. So either I could use this as a sock knitting project bag, or I could use it as it's intended. There's some pockets in there. Very cool. And one of her trays, but this is not one with the snaps. It's just permanently like this, but it's just so cute and little. And so this could be my notions pouch for scissors and things for travel stitching. So that's very cool. And I have another project bag, not a Vic bag. So Vic, avert your eyes. This one is by Vintage Owl Lady, and I have a Momily bag with this print on it, but it was this Ghastly's panel that so Vintage Owl Lady, she posts in the mornings what her bag is on the table that she's making, and then at the end of the day, once she's made the bag and she uploads it to her Etsy, she will she'll post it again and say it's ready and it's up in the Etsy. So she posted that she was in the process of making this bag one day, and I said, can I sneak in and can I buy that bag? I know it's not made yet, and so there's no rush or anything, but can I buy that? And she said yes, of course. So I snuck in and snatched this one up. The wind is rising, the air is wild with leaves. Now cometh October's eves. So cool. I love this. And then this is the print on the other side. More Ghastlies, more of a panel. And then this print on the inside. I love the Ghastlies prints. They are just so much fun. So there's that bag. Okay, up next, let's get into some charts. Vic was having a de-stash on Virtual Stitcher. She was like, I'm trying to get rid of some of these. So I have this one by Nimue, Brigand Doon, cute little witches. And then Halloween Parade by Heart and Hand. I loved this one because I thought originally that all of those characters' eyes were googly eyes. But I'm totally going to put googly eyes on instead of stitching their eyes. I just love that. I think that's going to be so cool. I think that'll be a lot of fun. So that I picked up from Vic. I needed needles and a new pair of scissors. So from 123 Stitch, I also picked up The Poison Apple by Bella Filipina. Bella Filipina recently released an Alice. So I guess that they're doing some of these classic fairy tales, and so got to start the collection somewhere. So here is Snow White. So pretty, and such a cute little Bella Filipina. This may have to get started next year. Unless they come out with Belle, and then it's over. Here is something that I picked up on D-Stash on eBay. I didn't have a save search, but I went looking and I found this one for really reasonable, a lot more reasonable than I've ever seen it. This is the Wisdom Sampler by Donna Vermillion Giampa, and put out under the heading of Elsa Williams kits. I am likely going to sub out the fabric for linen, and the threads I'm going to convert to DMC. We'll see about that. I haven't decided on the conversion yet. I don't know if I really am in the mood to sort that. I might just source my own threads. But I love this. I love this so much. I have seen a few people stitch it. I love these really intricate floral borders. So there's the Wisdom Sampler. Okay, a few more things. I have some new needle minders that I picked up from Mad for Minders. I very rarely buy new needle minders, but I went looking for one and ended up with 5. Technically 6, but this one I'm going to send to Sammy because it's Alice in a Dolly Dream. But here are some new needle minders. The coffee one says, don't bother me until I've had my coffee. Yeah. And then just some cool things. Just some really cool things. So I love Mad for minders, and I love the wood needle minders. Those are my favorites. Okay, some fabrics. I believe I mentioned to y'all last time that I got that Grace Notes fabric a while at the Stitch New Jersey retreat, and then I placed an order for some Grace Notes fabric while I was at the retreat. And so those arrived this week. So first up we have, this is 32 count Belfast in Jennifer. And this is going to be at least one of the spring Cottage Garden samplings, A Year in the Woods pieces. At least one of them is going to go on this. I think that this is the color that Hannah used for her spring ones in that collection. So I'm going to do at least one on the same color. This is really gorgeous. It's very swampy and fun. I like how rich that color is. And then a piece of 46 count that I bought mostly for the name. It's called the Gray Stuff, but it's a little bit purple. And that is a Beauty and the Beast reference. Try the Gray Stuff. It's delicious. Don't believe me? Ask the dishes. So anyway, just a gorgeous kind of gray purple. Really pretty. Really, really pretty. In a 46 count. So I have no idea what this is for, other than to make my stash happy. Because I'm trying to build up my 46 count stash while I can. Okay, last 2 pieces of fabric. This is my alternate for Murky, and I think I'm probably going to go this route because I think that Murky is just a little bit too wild. So this is Seaweed by Fox and Rabbit. And I think it's a great alternative to Murky. It's washing out a little bit. It's more even than it's showing. It's not that splotchy. But we've got some really strong sunlight right now. But I think that this will be excellent for Anne Woodall 1847. I think that's really pretty. I bought that from Hollis Hands Create. It came with this cool project card. Can't buy just one piece of fabric. So this is 40 count baked clay, also Fox and Rabbit. Gorgeous kind of pinky kind of undertone to it. So that's really gorgeous. No plan for this one, just padding the stash as if I need another neutral. But I like Fox and Rabbit linen. I think it's really pretty. So there's that. And then I have one more digital thing. I had to buy Saga by Long Dog Samplers. Oh my goodness. Tell me I'm not the only one whose jaw hit the floor when that was released. She was teasing it, Jules was teasing it for a couple of weeks beforehand. And then it dropped and I was just... I need to stop stitching anything but long dogs if I have any hope of stitching all of the long dogs that I want to. Oh my goodness, Saga is so beautiful. I am still working on what my plan is for that. I think I want to get further into Kinto Okuto before I dive into Saga, just because they're kind of similar. They're a little bit similar, and it will give me some more time to figure out what my plan is. I have seen some really beautiful ones on the Facebook group for long dogs, so something to think about. As if I don't have enough to stitch already. My goodness. So, I think that's it. I think we have done enough. I am starting to get shaky because I need to go have some lunch. It's 2:30. It's time for me to have some lunch. and start getting this edited for you. I'll hopefully have it up by tonight or tomorrow. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for your continued support of me and my channel. I hope that you're all doing well. I hope that you're stitching. As always, be kind, and I will see you in the next one.